Thank you very much, Coach, for joining us. Let's start off with an opening statement, and then we'll take some questions.
My opening statement should be, wow, huh? I'm really proud of our group. You know, we talked about growing up and getting one of these, and we knew as good as we were in the first half offensively, there's going to be a run coming. And for us to hold the run off and play enough defense to escape, I'm really proud of our group, and I think it's something we can build on.
All right, first up, we'll go to Tom Noy. Go ahead.
Mike, what does it mean for this group to do what it just did? And then also, we've seen some lightning strikes from this team offensively. Can you even describe what happened there in the first half?
You know, Tom, you've watched our program offensively for a long time. That may have been one of the most beautiful 20 minutes offensively I've ever witnessed. And for me to say that with the offensive lineups that I've had through the years was unbelievable. And then, of course, my paranoid self knows they're going to play better defense, and they did. And where we grew is when we couldn't get flowing, pretty offensive stuff like we did in the first half. We didn't hang our head, and we played enough defense and rebounded enough to keep them at 61 points.
Patrick Ingle, go ahead.
Mike, can you kind of just take us through that final defensive possession that stopped the ball there and forced Sarr to take that mid-range jumper?
Well, we debated a little bit because obviously we played a lot of zone, a lot of our 1-3-1. Our 1-3-1 was very good to us tonight and kept them back on their heels and not attacking as much. But we felt we had to have bodies on people, and I thought Juwan Durham did a fabulous job getting out the challenge. Sarr had hit 2 shots like that earlier in the half, but he was pushed out more, and Juwan really challenged. And so I love that we had to play defense to win a game.
Go to John Bryce.
Mike, when your offense does dry up like it did a little bit in the second half, but you're still able to win leaning on your defense, what's the value of that long term? And then part 2 would be, I heard them say you were on the phone with Jack Swarbrick. So what was that phone call like?
No, I was Jack Nolan. I was on the phone. That's my radio guy. I did a post.
Oh, okay. All right.
But no, you're right. I think where my teams through history at times, we've always been pretty good offensively. But sometimes some of those offensively gifted groups, if they couldn't score it and get into their rhythm, we didn't have the fight on the defensive end. It would affect us on that end. I thought this group showed a lot of maturity in just game 4, right? It's still early in the season, to keep fighting back on the defensive end, even though we miss a shot and it wasn't anywhere near like the first half, you know, where it was just flowing.
We'll go to Tim Priester.
Mike, you haven't used a ton of 1-3-1 through the years. What do you like about that? I know that you had length up at the top.
You know, we stole this in full disclosure from Kermit Davis at Ole Miss last year. We were looking around for something other than our 2-3 zone. And what we liked about it, he played it at Ole Miss. I was watching one night where they go 1-3-1, and then when the ball goes to the corner, it eventually becomes a 2-3 zone, R2-3. But it makes guards play over the top of a big guy. Nate Laszewski is just fabulous playing up there and being big. And it's hard for a smaller guard to eventually break you down a little bit. And it took them out of playing downhill with their athletic ability because they have great drivers. And so that's the best. We call it 13. 23 is our 2-3 zone. Real creative, huh? And it's the best it's served us, 13.
Tom Noy, go ahead.
Mike, you talked the other day about trusting the process. I'm just curious, on what page of the process does it say go win at Rupp Arena for the first time in school history?
Well, you know, I thought it's a great point. You know, we were so disappointed the other night that we couldn't finish against Ohio State. And we really did some good things. And I said, you know, guys, and even at halftime, I said, this will really come down if we can get loose balls and enough defensive rebounds to win. And that's really what it was in the second half. But again, our offensive flow, you know, to give us that lead and the ability for us, you know, to score and know how to play with each other helps us. I just liked our mental toughness I know there wasn't 20,000. Tom, I think you were here, but that electric noise was pretty good, right? It kind of simulated. We got rattled against the press a couple times, and so I kind of liked our maturity and our mental toughness, and then our leadership. You know, Hub and Cormac Ryan, the stuff they talk about in our timeouts are mature guard stuff, upperclassmen stuff.
We'll go to John Bryce.
Mike, I think you got a +9 from your bench in the first half between Jogo and Zona. How important was that overall? And then just the bench to give you 27 or so minutes in the game as a whole. How much did you need that?
I thought both of them were great. Matt Zona in the first half was fabulous for us, you know, and he's playing against big, long, athletic guys, and he's a fighter though. And then Jogo, you know, he's not healthy. He's not 100%, but he played on a bad wheel, and he at least knows how to play with us. You know, he made the one shot, but he's not in there to make shots. He's in there to move the ball, flow, help us move, and then defensive rebound and guard. And again, I singled him out after the game because I know he was hurting. And I, you know, again, we get him healthier, he's going to be key for us. But Zona, I thought, gave us great stuff.
Patrick Engel, go ahead.
Like even in a second half where some things kind of pop up that had happened in losses, how much more just of a difference as far as confidence and belief is it to just be able to still get a win despite some of those things?
Well, you know, again, I'm as the teacher and it's early, I'm going, you know, that's my worst nightmare. We're up 22, you know, a run's coming. And if you can't get out of here and hold them off, you know, what's the psyche of the group? Now, I think this group really has some great mental toughness because they've been through a lot as young players, and they've really kind of shown that, and they're mature and they're poised. But I wanted it so bad for them. You know, I'm thinking as Lashar shots in the air, I'm thinking like, come on now, man. You know, this group deserves one. So I hope it's a confidence builder for us, and maybe an identity builder of, you know, if we're not playing pretty offense, which we couldn't do the last 20 minutes, we still can defend and rebound enough to win a game.
Final question for Coach. We'll go back to Tom Noy.
Mike, what is it about Prentice? And I know we've talked about him a lot and his psyche and his makeup, but for him not to really have it going most of the game, and all of a sudden he just turns around and scores your last 9 in a gotta have it time.
The man is a flat out warrior. And I thought he just quarterbacked that 48 points in the first half and never really forced anything. And then in the second half, they're really guarding our other guys, and they're not as good at receivers. So then it's like, okay, I better do something. And he had a couple turnovers, but then when it comes down to it, nobody wants to win more than him. There's a great Ben Hansborough kind of edge about this kid that I just love being around, and I think it rubs off on his teammates.
Thank you very much, Coach.
Thanks, guys.